Watch this. There's one spot on your opponent's body that completely kills their forehand power, and most players never think to aim there. Most amateur players aim for the corners, but the smartest placement targets your opponent's body, specifically their right leg. The forehand puts the biggest demand on the lower body, the legs. So the real question is, which leg do you target? It's the right leg. Let me show you with some multi-ball feeding. Watch if the ball comes to my forearm. I simply move my arm out of the way and I'm fine. Armpit. Same thing, I can dodge it. But when every ball lands right at my right leg, let me demonstrate with a backspin feed so you can see this clearly. Watch how awkward this is. You cannot swing naturally when the ball is jammed into your right leg. There's no room to generate power. Always target the opponent's right leg. No matter where they stand, the right leg is the most uncomfortable spot for any forehand attack. First, to generate power on the forehand, a player must clear space. They need to move both their legs and their arm out of the way to create a proper hitting zone. Second, they have to swing along an arc. You simply cannot produce power hitting the ball when it's trapped inside your body. Watch what happens in a real receive situation. If your opponent likes to use their forehand to receive your serve, send it to their right leg. Feel how jammed they get. Now, if they prefer their backhand, push the ball just slightly toward their forehand side from center. That's their most uncomfortable zone. Even trying to loop that ball up becomes extremely difficult, genuinely hard to produce any quality. You need to test your opponent. Most players have habits built over years. They can't adjust instantly. There are two key pressure points, the elbow and the right leg. For the forehand, the leg is the hardest spot to open up. For the backhand, the elbow is the hardest spot to use power. These are the two most uncomfortable targets on any opponent. Even when your opponent is standing on their forehand side, watch the difference. Send the ball wide, and they handle it comfortably. But send it to their right leg, and they have to shift their entire center of gravity. Their shot quality drops dramatically. Stop aiming at the spot where your opponent is most comfortable. Their real gap is at the forehand hip. That's the true open zone. You have to find the spot where your opponent is most jammed, and then keep directing the ball there. Now let's talk about using your forehand on balls aimed at your middle. When your backhand keeps missing on a particular serve, that's your signal to step around and attack with your forehand instead. The forehand has a much higher margin for error. So for forehand attacks from the middle, footwork comes first. That's exactly why we talked about targeting the leg. If the opponent's legs can't clear, they can't generate power. We limit their attack quality through placement. The middle ball is a problem you must solve. In every match, world class or amateur, everyone is drilling the center line because they know it jams you. So the answer is always footwork first. The adjustment is a two-step process. For a long ball, pivot your right foot out to clear a hitting lane. The key principle: as long as the incoming ball and your right foot are no longer on the same line, you're in good shape. The movement is rotational, not lateral. Your body doesn't need to slide far to the left. What it needs is to rotate and open up, creating space for the stroke. Don't fall into the common mistake of panicking and sprinting sideways. That actually makes it harder to loop, because you still can't engage your core. It's not a left-right problem, it's a rotation problem. So when you need to clear your body, shift just slightly to the left, then open your torso. On a half-long ball to the middle, most amateur players try to reach in and loop, but their footwork is one step short. Watch you get this stuck, powerless feeling. The fix is an extra preparatory step. For a long ball, I jump and pivot to clear space. But when the ball is short, watch my feet. I jump first, then step in. The sidestep must move forward, not just laterally. Footwork really is the missing piece. Once you lock in this pattern, everything improves. On a long ball, you pivot and loop directly. On a short ball, you sidestep first, then drive your left foot forward to close the distance. A half-high ball to the middle works the same way. Now watch the correct version. Sidestep to clear your body, then step forward into the ball. The ball is short, so you still need to close the gap toward the table. Every single ball that comes to your middle requires this same two-part footwork. Rotate to clear space, then step forward to meet the ball. If you ever feel jammed, it's always a footwork or anticipation problem. Keep your stroke compact and stay ahead of the ball.